Chris Mackowski of Emerging Civil War, and I am at Fort Blakely, just outside of Mobile, Alabama. We're here in the waning days of the war. One of the last charges of the war took place beginning of April 1865. There are about 3,500 Confederates that are defending Mobile here in the fort, which you can see part of the ramparts behind me. There would have been landmines in this area here that Confederates put out here to help equalize the numerical disparity that they knew that they would be facing. Basically, two brigades of Confederates off to my right in that direction are going to be the Alabama Brigade, which is essentially two regiments, the 62nd and 63rd Alabama, consisting mostly of conscripts, young boys who have been drafted, although there are a few older guys that are in there who didn't qualify for earlier drafts, but at this point the Confederates are scraping the bottom of the barrel. We're up to 62 and 63 regiments here in Alabama at this point. There's a fair amount of concern that those men will not be able to hold up under pressure, so the Confederates really spend a lot of time, Confederate leadership really spends a lot of time trying to bolster their morale. The other brigade that's here off to my left would be some hardened veteran Samuel French's division. At this point, they are commanded by Cockrell, and that's all that's between them and the federal forces that come from Pensacola. They're going to be commanded by Frederick Steele. He's got about 16,000 men among them. He actually has about 4,000 United States colored troops that are serving in this area, and they're going to be joined by some forces that are going to come up just from the south of here at Spanish Fort that are led by Canby. And starting on the 1st of April, they get here. They're going to lay siege beginning on the 2nd, and that siege is going to last until April 9th, at which time the Federals are going to finally launch an attack. Now, let's remember what else is happening on April 9th, 1865. In the parlor of Wilmer McLean's house at Appomattox Courthouse, Robert E. Lee and Ulysses S. Grant have sat down to negotiate an end to the fighting there. But they don't know that here. This is still a last desperate attempt to hang on and defend Mobile. And so these guys aren't thinking like, oh, we're short timers, this is almost over. They're really going to hang on with this real sense of desperation. So when the federal attack comes, it's going to come from behind me in that direction. If we look across the road, we're actually going to see the remains of the Blakely Cemetery over there today. This was a town once upon a time. It's now a little deserted ghost town. You can see a memorial there to Union soldiers as well as old headstones. But that's going to be the direction that the federal assault is going to come at about 5:30. They're going to sweep across in this direction, make their way through some abatis, push their way through some monuments that are over there, and a reproduction of Napoleon here, and attack right here at this place known as Redoubt 6. There's going to be some intense hand-to-hand fighting, but the sheer weight of federal numbers is going to overwhelm the Confederates, and the Federals are going to be able to push down the line in that direction, push up the line in this direction, and basically capture the fort. Most of the Confederate defenders will be taken prisoner, although a few will escape, but this basically crushes the defenses and allows the Federals to finally force the capitulation of Mobile. So the fighting is so intense here, there are going to be 14 medals of honor that are awarded to Federals. Today, this area is a state park. The American Battlefield Trust has preserved land here. There are a couple of monuments off in that direction. You can see one to the Missourians and the Alabamians who fought here. As I mentioned, there is a reproduction of Napoleon here. Some really cool walking trails along the Federal skirmish line, the Federal line, off in the fort itself. If we follow Battlefield Road, which you can see right over there, deeper into the park, it'll bring us further north on the line. There are remains of the fort as well. And this is, you can kind of get a sense of the fortifications here, although the propped up with some additional modern fortification. There would have been tripwires strung between those stumps out there. You can see a big ditch in front of the fort itself. During the afternoon assault, Federals would have been coming from the left across this field here. And by the way, land right over there was saved by the American Battlefield Trust, and they would have advanced across this open field, many of them having to clamber down through this ravine, and then off toward Redoubt number 4 off in the distance right there. One witness said, "The scene was picturesque and grand. From different points of view, the assaulting lines could be seen for a mile or two. Regimental colors, though not in perfect line, were steadily advancing, and the troops were dashing over and through the obstructions like a stormy wave. The whole line is actually 3 miles in its assault, and Harper's Weekly called it probably the last charge of this war, as gallant as any on record. And just the sheer weight of numbers is going to slam into this Confederate position and overwhelm them. So it's really worth a stop. We're just a couple miles outside of Mobile on the eastern side of the river, so it's well worth a visit if you ever pass along this way on Interstate 10. For Emerging Civil War, I'm Chris Mackowski. We'll see you online and on the battlefield.